As the sun rises over the wild Isle of Hell, a young Diana playfully scolds her odd-looking pet before suddenly freezing in awe. Her bright blue eyes widen as she sees the imposing figure of Lady Persephone appear before her. The Queen of the Dead, glowing with an eerie green radiance and crowned in crimson, gently beckons Diana to approach. "Hello, Diana," she says with a smile. "Come meet my tree." Diana skeptically asks if what she's seeing is truly a tree, and Lady Persephone gently confirms, explaining that while it's small now, it will become something great. Just like Diana. The Queen reveals how the underworld usually resists life, but this tree is special, able to thrive despite it. She invites Diana to help it grow, hinting at her deeper potential. Diana notes that her mother always says more plans are needed, prompting Persephone to share a secret about how she became the queen of the underworld, telling Diana it involved a kidnapping and some very diabolical pomegranate seeds. Now, in the brutal arena of the damned, Diana is caught in a vicious chokehold by a ferocious chimera. Overlooking the battle, Hades casually chats with Lady Persephone, joking about banning magic to make fights even more intense. But Diana quickly turns the tables, slamming the beast to the ground with explosive force. Watching with calm confidence, Persephone predicts that when Diana wins with just one arm, it'll leave Hades in lasting disgrace. Back on the Wild Isle in the past, as young Diana sleeps peacefully nearby, Circe kneels before a fire, urgently calling out to Hecate. She seeks guidance, insisting the request is for Diana's sake and cannot wait. Hecate appears within the flames, warning that her time is brief. Circe, overwhelmed and unsure how to free Diana when the moment comes, begs for help, acknowledging the magnitude of what she's asking with the words. Hecate pleads with Circe to make her request quickly. As Hecate's face begins to form in the flames, she warns Circe that ears may be listening, though a path has already been set. She cryptically speaks of two secrets, one irrelevant, the other involving a story meant to deceive but ultimately guide. Hecate explains that long ago, Zeus gave Hades the right to claim Amazons who fell in battle, and that Hades built his arena with that dark privilege. She vanishes, leaving behind a subtle clue. Circe follows her instincts and soon discovers a book titled The Lady or the Tiger, realizing it holds the key she was meant to find. In the heat of the battle, the Chimera unleashes a blazing attack, blasting Diana with fire as the fight escalates. From above, Hades coolly observes and suggests Persephone may have misjudged Diana. Hades then cruelly turns to Circe, mocking her, while she remains silenced by a magical muzzle. As the Chimera claws into Diana with brutal force, Circe watches in anguish, unable to speak or help. Back in the past, Circe snuggles up with young Diana and begins reading her a story titled The Lady or the Tiger. Diana curiously asks if it's new, and Circe explains it's actually quite old, though she's only just discovered it. As Circe narrates, illustrations show a princess who falls in love with a commoner, only for her father to send him to a mysterious arena as punishment. The king claims the gods themselves decide fate in the arena, where the young man must choose between two doors. As Circe continues reading, she explains that behind one door was a bride and a happy life, while the other hid a fierce tiger and certain death. Diana, thinking like a warrior, wonders why the man can't just reason with or fight the tiger. Circe gently reminds her that in this tale, reason and strength are powerless. It's all about chance. The story reveals the princess secretly learned which door held which fate, but now faced a cruel dilemma. Let her love marry another, or send him to die. Her decision, Circe explains, was a burden only the princess could bear. She finishes the story as the princess silently signals her lover toward one of the doors. But the outcome is left unknown. Diana is visibly upset and confused, asking whether the young man lived or died. Circe gently explains that the story is meant to make the reader think, not provide answers. Still bothered, Diana says she doesn't want to read it again, calling it horrible. Circe reassures her they can revisit it another day, when she's older, perhaps. Back in the present, Diana hits the Chimera with a powerful right hook that sends it reeling. Observing the chaos with amusement, Lady Persephone casually asks her husband what he finds so thrilling about these fights. Hades responds with dark delight, noting how sometimes combatants lose limbs. He finds it all quite exciting. He teases Persephone for thinking this is the main event, assuring her the real show is yet to come. Back in the quiet warmth of the past, Circe gently braids Diana's hair as they continue discussing the story. Diana struggles with the ending, frustrated that the gods don't truly decide the outcome. It's the princess who does. She admits she doesn't like the princess, believing that if she truly loved the suitor, she wouldn't leave his fate uncertain. Circe suggests that the story isn't about right or wrong, but about understanding the princess's choice, not necessarily agreeing with it. Diana insists the princess should be better, and Circe thoughtfully challenges her to consider whether the story is about judgment or something deeper. In the heat of the arena, Diana wrestles the chimera to the ground and calls it sister, expressing sorrow for what she must do. She offers the creature a chance to surrender, acknowledging the pain and unfairness it has endured in life. Diana pleads for peace, urging the chimera to yield so that it might live to fight another day. But the chimera roars defiantly, rejecting the offer. Diana, eyes full of resolve, quietly replies, "I see." Back in the past, a teenaged Diana chops wood beside her mother under the crimson sky. Her eyes go wide with sudden realization as she whispers, "By Hecate." Circe glances over, sensing the shift in her daughter. Diana turns to her with clarity, declaring, "I'm not the princess," a reference to the lady or the tiger story. With a quiet, knowing smile, Circe returns to her work, saying nothing, but everything is understood. In the present, Diana locks the chimera in a fierce chokehold, begging Hades not to force her to take its life. He coldly reminds her that only one can leave the arena alive. She warns him that if he makes her do this for sport, she will no longer see him as a god worth respecting, and that decision will forever divide them. Hades scoffs at her defiance, stunned she would speak that way to the lord of the underworld. With quiet sorrow, Diana whispers a final goodbye to her sister, then ends the fight by breaking the chimera's neck. Diana softly pleads, "Forgive me," her heart heavy with grief. In a solemn vow, she calls upon both Themis and Hecate, invoking their names to reject the old, broken rules and declare that justice and truth must guide the world from this moment forward. Hades mocks her resolve, urging her to embrace silence and submission. But Diana, eyes ablaze with divine fury, rises and denounces him, calling him no god or lord, merely the warden of a prison. When Hades snarls, "You dare?" she meets his challenge without fear, replying with steely calm, "I do." Hovering above the scorched floor, Diana confronts Hades with unshakable defiance, calling him nothing more than a frightened boy hiding in a prison built by Zeus. As red magic crackles around her, Hades is stunned by her power, unable to grasp how she commands such strength in his domain. Diana calmly explains that her power comes from injustice, that being wrongfully kept there is what fuels her. She declares that the very shame of this unfairness empowers everyone who recognizes it and demands a reckoning. Then, with fire in her voice and eyes, she reminds Hades that his judgment isn't today's concern, before turning the conversation to a very pointed question about choosing between two doors. Hades cruelly presents Diana with a twisted version of the old tale. One door offers freedom, the other, certain death. But before she chooses, he delivers a harsh warning. If Diana returns to the world above, she will never be allowed back to the underworld, not even in death. He adds an even sharper blow, saying Circe will remain trapped on the Wild Isle forever, severed from her daughter for all eternity. As Diana listens, Circe's eyes fill with tears, her expression trembling with heartbreak. Hades urges Diana to make her decision quickly, mocking her with a sneer as the moment of truth draws near. Diana approaches the two doors and makes her choice, but before stepping through, she pauses to honor her mother with a heartfelt, "Thank you for raising me, Mother." Hades taunts her, reminding her that freedom means she can never return. But instead of leaving, Diana turns back and walks to Circe, who remains bound in chains. With calm defiance, Diana snaps the restraints, revealing she ate a diabolical pomegranate seed Hades' wife gave her. Hades furiously demands to know what Persephone has done, but she calmly explains she's merely honored the promise of seeds sown long ago, seeds Diana earned through love, truth, and hard-earned growth. Persephone declares that Diana didn't break the rules, she fulfilled them, and thus has earned the right to leave with her mother. Hades warns Diana that while she may have won, she has now made a powerful enemy. Diana doesn't flinch, replying that so has he. Grateful beyond words, Diana thanks Persephone, who blesses her with a message to all daughters. Keep sowing seeds of truth, and the reckoning will come. Diana carries Circe through the skies of the Wild Isle, reflecting that while she thought the gods were punishing her in the arena, they were really teaching her, and giving her a mother who knew the secrets of the world and shared them with her. She realizes they've been teaching each other all along. Knowing she can't stay without being bound to the Isle for a month, Diana promises to send word once she's built the Hieron in Gateway City, just as they planned. She quietly tells Circe she defeated the Tetracide using her lasso, her mother's gift, and the two share a tender farewell. In Hecate's name, they bless each other.